Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today, I've got a very special sorcerer build for you guys. Nah, I'm joking. This build is as basic as it gets when it comes to Sorc as a class, but I've thrown a little spice on it to make sure you guys will be getting hate mail before you know it. But this build is a very good Sorc build for someone just trying out ESO or who just started playing and, like the way Sorc looks. Or it's just as good for someone who's been playing Sorc since day one. It's a very solid, great damage build that puts out what you're looking for in a Sorc. I'm making this more so because I've seen and talked to a lot of new lower tier Sorcs who are, overall confused about how to play Sorc or what sets to run. So this is just a build that's, not too hard to acquire, and it's all grindable without having to run trials or get master weapons. And still, in my opinion, outclasses builds who use sets and weapons like that when it comes to open world PvP in Cyrodiil. But yeah, let's jump into the build. Alrighty, I'll show you guys the stats real quick. This is unbuffed stats. Very high max Magicka, solid damage and solid recuv. Fully buffed. Get glitch proc. You guys should be looking at about coming close to 4k recuv, 4.2k max Magicka, 2538 spell damage, and 35% crit. Alrighty, starting off with the sets, I run a 5.5.2. I run 5 spinners, 5 lich, and 2 engine guardian. When I call this build basic, I kind of meant it because it's pretty straightforward for what you want on the sword. Very high mana pool, excellent damage, and great regen. I run a 5-1, only using 1 heavy armor piece because light armor passives are just amazing. I run all divines on small pieces, except this one because I haven't changed it yet. Don't worry about that. But you'd want all divines on your small pieces, your boots, gloves, belts, and shoulders. And infused on large pieces, your chest, your helm, and your legs. But besides that, all max Magicka enchantments on your armor. And on jewelry, I run spell damage enchantments, along with arcane is the trait for the extra mana. I'm gonna kind of go over the sets I use and why I use them, to kind of get you guys to use the build at its full potential. So yeah, starting with Engine Guardian, health recovery for the 2-piece or for the 1-piece. 2-piece, when you use an ability, you have a 10% chance to summon a Dwemer automation to restore 1176 health, stamina, or Magicka every 0.5. You guys know what Engine Guardian does. I do use this for the recuv, and it just might be my favorite set in the game. It does give you mana, health, and stam. But my favorite part about the set is it's basically like having a little Secret Service agent walking around with you. Now, before you go type a rant in the comments about how much of a horrible person I am, no one can deny how good it is as a face tank, especially when you're in the heat of battle. Especially since your ward goes around your Engine Guardian, making it that much tankier to kite around and use just a shield. I know it's a pretty cheesy thing to do, but in PvP, it can be a very valuable asset to you. It has saved my life plenty of times by intercepting meteors, soul assaults, and cap. Yeah, you guys get the point. Next set we use is spinners. Not much to say here. Double max Magicka and spell damage. Along with that 3.3k spell pin. This is your damage set and is probably the best damage set in the game. You could put up some good arguments with other sets, but for a Sorc, the double mana not only gives you more damage, but also increases your wards, making this an excellent option to run on a sorcerer, and great for ward size. And lastly, we have Lich. One of the best mana regen sets in the game, if not the best. We got double recov and max Magicka. I love this set because it allows you to run a 5/5/2 Magicka Sorc. You can run it on the back bar, just letting you fully embrace all the pieces. You know, you can run on your front, engine guardian, spinners, and whatnot. It just makes it really convenient that you don't have to run, you know, like a 5/5/1 or anything. It's great for everything. One of my favorite things about it is if you're getting chased by a Zerg, one of the first things you can do is as soon as you get under 30%, get that proc. You know, you pop a pot, ward up. I mean, you're at 3.7k mana. Appreciate it, Engine Guardian. All the better if that procs at the same time. Look how fast you're back up to full Magicka. I mean, you're good, ready to kill whatever sorry kid decided to chase you. And it just makes it a really good option for recov on a Magicka sorcerer. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the sets. For the weapon, I run Sharpened. I still think it's top tier, trait-wise, along with weapon damage enchantment. And on my resto, I run Decisive for ult generation and the Crusher enchantment. It, you know, reduces spell resistance. That's good just to tap in between on your cycles. You know, just for that extra burst. If you aren't a an enchantment kind of person and you favor yourself some poisons, I highly suggest Drain Magic Poison. I get Drain Pots can be a little cheesy, and it's because they are cheesy. But as long as you aren't using them in duels, and you're in open world, I don't see any wood signs in the ground that say, hey, you can't use Drain Poisons. So if anybody's salty, that's their own problem. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the sets and how they work together. We can get right into the skills. Alrighty, getting into the skills, we like to use, oh my gosh, I apologize. We like to use Force Pulse, Haunting Curse, Crystal Frags, Endless Fury, Hardened Ward, and Ice Comet. I like Force Pulse over Crushing Shock just because the extra damage you get from it, it's just, it's hard to drop over, you know, the fact that you can disorient them or whatever during a channel. I'll take the extra damage all day. Haunting Curse, Crystal Frags, pretty bread and butter for Sorcs, along with Endless Fury. Ice Comet, I don't run a CC on this build, so I really like Ice Comet, allowing you to, you know, put a Haunting Curse on them, count that 3 seconds, drop the meteor, throw a frag. You can outburst them without having to worry about rooting them. This can be troublesome in duels because, you know, you don't always get that window of opportunity. But in open world, it works excellent. Just kind of out damaging how much they can take. It allows you not to always, you know, worry about a CC, and it works very well. I do use double wards on my backbar. I run Power Surge, Shriek, Healing Ward, Harness Magicka, Harden Ward, and Energy Overload. I double bar wards because it allows you to keep pressure while you're in the middle of a fight. Sometimes you don't want to have to switch to your back bar to, you know, have to reset your wards, and it just makes it more convenient for my playstyle at least. But if you don't think you have to, feel free to run whatever ability on your front or your back you would like. But I find for surviving and not dying to a quick burst because you weren't paying attention, running double wards is just the way to go. Yeah. For my buff, I do run Power Surge along with most Magicka Sorcs. I like this over Entropy because you don't need a target to use it. Not to mention the healing is ridiculous. And it's super quick. Like in your weave, I mean, you just pop it and keep going. Easy peasy. Don't have to worry about hitting anybody or anything crazy. Alright. And Overload bar. This is purely utility. I don't use Overload offensively. I guess you can if you want to troll some people, but that's up to you. I like to run Rapid Maneuvers. Oh my gosh. Rapid Maneuvers is awesome. Traveling from keep to keep or town to town or getting to point A to point B. It's just so nice to just be able to pop that Overload bar, get on your mount, and you're out. Like, easy peasy. Boundless Storm, great for utility, excellent for running away. If you're trying to get away from a bigger group of people, it not only gives you resistances, it gives you speed. It can pull Night Blades out of Cloak. That's probably one of my more favorite parts about it. Daedric Mines. Daedric Mines aren't really relevant in this patch, since they juiced the price up on them to a little unreasonable. But I still like to run them, especially for bringing people or multiple people into choke points. Really good spots where mines can just be extra disgusting. You know, being pinned in a corner and having mines stack on like this, it can just be the burst that you need or crowd control that you need. And Dark Deal, or Dark Conversion. This is one of the most broken abilities in the game. I don't know why they haven't fixed it. If you're not running this on a Sorc, shame on you. I'm gonna burn my mana. This not only gives you health, but it gives you mana. This is excellent for using is like a last resort. You can get your mana back extremely quickly. And if your stam's low, you just pop a tripod. Bang, you're back up to full stamina. It's good to use if you're fighting a tank, he's not really CCing you much, and you feel like you've reached a point where you're burned on mana, just pop this 2-3 times, you're back to full. And last but not least, I run my ward on my overload bar too, because I use my overload bar just as much as I use my other two, weaving in and out of Boundless Storm, you know, not really dropping mine, but using this when I have to. But it's mainly just to get that extra speed and tankiness. It's about as possible. Awesome. So, if you aren't a big overload user, and you'd rather not run utility and you think you're fine without it, some other ults I could recommend. Atra. This can be kind of a troll. Allows you to hide inside it, kite around it. It's pretty funny to run with Ninja Guardian. Definitely be getting some hate mail. And Resto ult. This is just, if you feel like you're taking on a lot of heat, I mean, you just go to your Resto ult. Oh, 4 dudes are on me. Pop that, ward stack. I mean, you can turn around and start fighting, or you could just book it. They're not going to kill you. It's too much healing. Yeah, I'd say those were the best 2 alternatives if you didn't want to run overload. But I do highly, highly, highly recommend you run overload, just for extra utility and being able to survive that much longer. I've always run it, and I probably always will. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the skills. Pretty basic setup, nothing too crazy. Yeah, we can get into CP. Alrighty, getting into the CP tree. Let's start with the green tree. 41 into Warlord. I already cost a break free. I am a 720, by the way. If you're not a 720, you can kind of follow how I put, but I'll let you know what the core trees you want to put your CP in. 41 into Warlord, 3 into Sprinter, 22 into Siphoner. Lover. If you are low in CP, I'd say the first place you should put your CP is on Arcanist and Mooncalf. Arcanist first, and then Mooncalf. Couple reasons. Increased Magicka recovery. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. And stamina recovery for better management for stam. And for the passive, increase your movement speed by 2, which is nice for you know, if you go into your overload bar, pop Boundless Storm and start booking it. It also increases your Magicka recovery by 10, which will allow you to you know, streak more along with sprint, which is really nice just for staying alive and, you know, picking and choosing where you want to take the fight. Shadow, 49 in the tumbling. It's always good to have points in the dodge roll. You know, some classes are very easy to predict, especially Stam Sorcs. If you're trying to fight one and it's very clear their combo is, you know, dizzying, swing, dawnbreaker, having that Stam to make sure they don't hit you with that dizzying swing is, you know, nice. And this just, you know, allows you to do it more. Alright, blue tree. This is another place, if you're low in CP, I highly suggest you put most of your CP. Elemental Expert. This will just straight up increase your damage. No questions asked. Spell Erosion increases your pen. Pen is just as important as damage, guys. Unless you're fighting someone with wards. Outborn increases the damage of your critical strikes, magic abilities. This is excellent for frags, curves, everything damage you do. These 3 trees are all really good options. And also the last passive is really nice for a Sorc. When you kill an enemy, you have a 20% chance to restore, 4k mana. It's just good for running in groups, and you're running by yourself. Just a nice little mana regen. Atronach. Another place, low CP. I suggest you put points in here. Master at Arms increases your damage with direct damage attacks. Some people don't know what direct damage attacks actually do, or what qualifies an attack as a direct damage attack. A direct damage attack is any ability you have that hits one person, or intentionally is meant to hit one person. Like, I'm gonna show you guys. Force Pulse, direct damage. Haunting Curse, direct damage. Crystal, direct damage. Endless, direct damage. Meteor, direct damage. Like, yeah, Meteor can be a dot, but the initial hit is direct damage, along with Curse. It does have an AoE, but the initial hit is direct damage. Alrighty. But yeah, highly recommend putting points into this. It allows you to double dip with Elemental Expert, and putting some in the Staff Expert too, for your Resto taps and Destro Weaving. Just gives it that extra DPS. And 5 into Shattering, because people with wards are annoying. Got none in here. Moving on to the red tree. 7 in Ironclad. Or 17. I probably should put more in here, because there's so much that qualifies as direct damage nowadays. Especially Nightblades. They're the most annoying to fight as a Sorc, it seems. So yeah, if you're low in CP, I recommend putting points into Hardy, Elemental Defender, and Ironclad. Those will be your core 3. Look up for those before you go investing in other areas. Elemental and Hardy, it's just nice. It'll just help you take less damage all around. Thick Skinned, this is also nice, especially when fighting DKs or just poison injections from most stamina builds. And last tree, Bastion. Final spot, low CP people. This is where you're gonna wanna stick a good amount of points. Honestly, I'd stick more in here before you touch other regions, because how much it increases your ward. You gotta realize they gotta get through your wards before they ever even get to your health. So the stronger your wards are, the less you have to worry about them ever getting to your health. I run 75 in that tree because it's so important. I usually don't run that much in any given tree, but Bastion, extremely important for Sorcs. Can't stress that enough. And yeah, that's pretty much it for CP. Like I said, 720. It's pretty solid all around setup, giving you what you need. Also giving you some pretty vital passives. Last couple things I want to cover. Potions and food. As you can see from my stats, I got 10k max stam, inching on 20k health in PvP. That's low for both stam and health, so it kind of, compares to how we run tripods, because due to bow, a low health pool and a low stamina pool, you're gonna want to first of all have the stam recovery from tripods, because I can't even stress how just overall important that is. especially the stamina recovery you get, not even the direct cash in of the stamina. And health. A lot of people use tripods super casually. Like, oh, I'm in a duel. Look at me, I'm low on mana. Better fine. Say that. But they just use them to basically not their full potential, and you're really missing out on what you need. You'll see it from a lot more higher skilled players, but people shouldn't be using potions unless you're getting as much out of it as you fully can. Like, let's say you're in a duel, Nightblade just fears you. You know, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even show you guys being low on stats. Okay, Nightblade fears you. Let's say you're already low on stam. You know you're not going to survive the next fear. And his burst got you down to half health, and you're already low on mana. Popping it right after a CC not only gives you, you know, your health back, your stamina back, and your magicka back. It's almost like a full reset to the fight, instead of just popping it when you're low on mana or low on stam, unless you really think you need it when, you know, random person X comes in with the next burst. But yeah, highly recommend use potions to their full ability. Don't underestimate how good, especially tripods, can be. Along with the fact, if you're ever taking a lot of heat and you know that their burst hits really hard, next time they go in with that burst, if you forgot to, you know, get your ward up, or you only have one ward up, first thing you do when they hit the burst is pop a potion, because it not only, you know, gives you all your resources back, but the 8.4k health immediately will save your life, and has saved my life so many times. It's an instant heal, no questions asked. Don't always risk it with your ward, just pop the potion. So I highly recommend you guys getting your hands on some tripods. Pretty common, a lot of people use them, nothing too crazy. Other potions, Essence of Invisibility. These might be the funniest things to look at people's faces when you just disappear, because, you know, there's X amount of people and you don't feel like you're in the right spot to kill all of them. Just allow you to reset the fight. Spell power is not bad if you're just trying to kill someone quick. And immovability, another great kind of pot. Yeah. For food, I do run Witch Mothers. I used to run Tri-Food a lot for the extra stam. But especially running Engine Guardian, you really don't have to worry about that stam all the time, as long as you can appropriately manage and, you know, not dodge roll on the slightest little freak out or something crazy. Yeah, that's why I switched it to Witch Mothers as a stam proc. You know, max magicka, max health, and magicka recovery. It's top tier when it comes to mana food. Super common. Works great with the build. That's pretty much it for the food and for the build all around. It's a very solid, reliable, you know, not terribly hard to get, except the Lich Resta. Oh my gosh. Be prepared to stay up for days. This thing is such a pain to get. But that's not the point. It's a very safe build to use. I found myself, along with many other people, you know, spending time and countless hundreds of thousands of gold into a build just to find out once they get it completed they hate. So this build can be changed and twisted and to a bunch of ways you would want it to be. I mean, you can change Engine Guardian for 2 more Max Magicka sets to get it even higher, or Damius to get the extra stam. I mean, there's so many things you can do with having Spinners as your damage and Lich is your Rico. It's just, it's not a build that you invest a lot into and feel like you got no return on investment. You feel like your money was well spent by the time you're done with the build. And that's not really something you can find a lot, especially with builds on YouTube. But yeah, concluding statements, I'd say the build's strengths definitely lie in its recov. Having Lich, having Engine Guardian, having Witch Mothers is vital to your overall success. Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you guys the Mundus Stone. I do run the Mage. For that extra mana, that's why my mana pool is so high. This allows you, your wards to go so much higher and your damage to be so much higher. If you did want to run the Atronach, your regen would be like out of control. And I feel like that's way too much. Unless you burn through mana like a crazy person, I'd go with the Mage. But yeah, all in all, the build really doesn't have any specific weaknesses, except for it can be a pain to duel people. It's still a very strong dueling build, especially with Engine Guardian, since people hate it so much in duels. But you might find yourself, especially against better opponents, not having a CC can be a pain, and them blocking your meteor, which is your only way to kill them. In some instances, it can lead to prolonged fights or whatnot, but that's always the grind of playing a Sorc. You're in it for the burst, you're in it to win it, and the high damage of this build. I've hit people so hard. Like, even the tooltips with frags proc 16k, that's ridiculous for using a Destro. But yeah, that's pretty much the build, guys. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I should get around to you sooner or later. But yeah, thank you for watching, and see you around.